let's review some things. Starting with this Google Doc. No, with Nioh. Now, I loved the alpha. Oh man, I played the alpha for probably about 7 hours, roughly. I did everything in it. I went back and kind of dicked around a little bit. It's phenomenal. So it's Souls meets a lot of people saying Onimusha. I don't know. It's Team Ninja, so I'm saying Ninja Gaiden. The new Ninja Gaiden, not old Ninja Gaiden. And this game, oh, what the fuck is that? Okay. Is so good. I don't know. There's something about it that I really enjoy, and it harkens back to that old Souls mentality. It feels in a way like Demon Souls. A lot of the level design really does feel like Demon Souls, and I actually had that in my little text description. It's just the way the levels route and loop themselves around. Not to get too deep into like Souls stuff, but Dark Souls 1 is the only one that kind of does that, and then Dark Souls 2 is much more linear in a different way. This game, and Demon Souls is very linear, but this game has those weird shortcuts and looping paths in a way that's so rewarding and fulfilling to get through, to fight through these enemies, and to see what's happening. What Souls does, oh my poor treasure, what Souls does that's incredible to me is have that every single encounter is an actual encounter. It isn't a Goomba from Mario. Like, it's not just, oh, whatever, I jump on this and it dies. It's not that. It's so much more than that. It's like, okay, there's 3 guys over here. I want to see if I can pick one off from the group. And then maybe I have to fight the 2, or, oh shit, there's a guy right there just jumped out of this wall. What do I do now? You can fall off a cliff and be dumb like me. There's so many moments like that where you're fighting 2 guys at once in a God of War or whatever, Bayonetta, even Ninja Gaiden, isn't a big deal. But in a game like Dark Souls or in a game like Nioh, it really is, where you're trying to just survive in this chaos environment that is incredible to me. I love the fighting. So the differences between Souls are the stances. There's a low stance, mid stance, high stance. High stance, high damage, slower. Low stance, lower damage, faster, etc. New to the demo are the dual katanas, and also some like pistol, matchlock, like pistol type thing. This is pistol, apparently. Slang language for pistol. And not weird sex thing. But I never use that stuff. I don't know what it does. I use the dual katanas a shit ton. They're so fast and fun. I love the dual katanas. Now, the damage output isn't as high, but they're fast, and that is super useful to me. Also new, they got rid of the durability. In the alpha, everything had durability. So your armor, to your weapons, and towards the end of it, there were 2 levels in the alpha, 2 main levels, and there's 2 main levels here, as well as at least 2 optional, like, mission-y things. There's sub-missions, and Twilight mode, which is just like the hard mode of every level, which really, and I'll get to that later, really changes things. And not only just enemy poison, enemy types. I'll just talk about it now. Enemy types are different. The lighting is different in the first level. It's super cool. I've only done the first level of that. But a new enemy type that's in there, new placement of things where like completely different enemies are where they are. Super awesome. Okay, so back to durability. They got rid of durability by the end of the first demo. You were having to use whetstone and some other item to restore durability of things because you weren't finding as many new, like I wasn't finding a new sword every so often in the second part of the demo, so I have to keep repairing this so it doesn't break. They got rid of durability and added familiarity with each weapon. I'm not sure what it does exactly, if it unlocks more damage or new abilities, or I don't know. You get skill points for using a certain weapon. So as you use the dual katanas or as you use the spears, you'll gain a point. Like, hey, you leveled up your spear mastery. Here's a point to spend on your skill trees. The skill tree is also something that differentiates it from Souls, in that there are a bunch of different skills you can learn. You can learn with the dual katanas this move where if you're blocking and you hold X, which is normally the run button, you run forward and just slash your swords everywhere like a psycho. And what I like to do, when I'm not dying, I like to wait until something's almost dead and just run in like a psycho and kill him with that move. It's funny to me. I'm a simple person. There's other moves you can learn in that. I do wish the combos were a little more diverse. I find I'm just mashing X for most of it. You can do like triangle is a strong attack, so you can do that, and you can do like square, square, triangle, triangle. But you have to learn that move, the second triangle, and I never really do it. Also, it doesn't pay to be that aggressive to where you're doing all those moves in a row, so it's not like you'd want a crazy 8-move combo. You'd run out of stamina. You would die. Like it's not that beneficial. So I don't know. I do wish there was a little more variability, but that could just be down to how I'm playing it. I don't know. It seems fine. You don't really need to do it. Some people are complaining about the items. They changed the item system. I think you only had 4 before, the item slots in the bottom left. You only had 4 on the D-pad. They've changed it now. You can cycle between 2 sets of them, so there's 8. But people complain that makes it too easy. No one's forcing you to use these items, so just don't use them. If you think it makes the game too easy, don't use them. I personally play like every game without using items. I'm the person who the final boss of the JRPG is like, alright, I'm going to use all my potions now. I finally found a time to use them. Because I didn't want to waste them before, so I'm holding on to them for some kind of crazy event that never occurs. But that max revive, now's the time. So I don't use items. The only items I use are the elixirs, which are your healing, and you can imbue your swords with a different element. That's one of the ninjutsu you can learn. There's also like shuriken and stuff, but I'm not really leveling up. That's not my type of build, but that is stuff you can do. There's smoke bombs. There's all sorts of stuff. I was reading something about there's an invisibility thing you can learn down one of these trees. That's super cool. There's a ton of different abilities that you can really spec your character in different ways, it seems. I'm a very just melee focused, let's fight shit type of player in Souls games. So I'm not really into that. I'm leveling up stuff like strength, like strength. Let's do it. I want to fight with swords. That's just how I play these games. But there's so much you could just watch it. There's so much going on in the battle system. This first hit me. So the demo, the beta demo, it is a demo, has the first level from the alpha, and it's pretty much the same. There's like maybe 2 differences. There's one big difference that I noticed. There's another shortcut that I feel like they added in. I don't know why though. It doesn't really take you that much time, all things considered. I don't know, whatever. They added a new shortcut. Maybe I didn't see it before, but I'm pretty sure I would have walked right by it several times, so yeah, I would have used it. They added a new shortcut, doesn't matter. But other than that, it's the same. So I was kind of feeling like I've been here, whatever. Then I go into the first submission, and it's essentially tall grass, 3 rooms. Each room has an encounter with a bunch of different like waves of enemies, which was super awesome. It's incredible how this game kind of just throws things at you, and it'll throw 3 enemies at you, and you're like, okay, I'll run over here, I'll fight, dodge over here, then kind of route that guy around. He's going to do his attacks. While he's doing that, I have a couple of seconds where I can fight the other weaker guy, because I need to pick him off, because I don't need... The last thing you need when you're fighting a giant guy with an axe is some other idiot being like, hey, what's going on? You don't need that. Not useful. So you gotta kill him. There's a new enemy, at least an enemy I don't remember being in it, with this long tongue guy. Maybe he was in that second area, but I don't remember him. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Awesome. Fighting that guy is great. there aren't enough new enemies in this beta yet. Who is new? There's these weird demon walls, which are cool, but that's not super amazing. Then there's, what else is there? There was like a weird, I forget what they're called. What are they called? It doesn't matter. It's a wheel. It's the spinning wheel that's on fire. It's got like a dog face in it. I forget what they're called though. It's got a name. It's a mythical creature. This is the skill tree. Now my big complaint about the skill tree is literally there's no way to tell what anything is. It's just a picture of a scroll. That's not helpful. Okay, that is probably my biggest complaint. I'll get back to the enemies. There might not be that many new things. There's a new guy who has like a bunch of treasure on his back, and you have to like kill him, and you get a bunch of experience. But he's trying to run away. That's my biggest complaint is with the skill tree. There need to be pictures of these things. Like learning the fire magic so you can imbue your weapon with fire should be a fire, like a picture of a sword on fire or something. Like it shouldn't just be a scroll. There's too many skills here. You saw that there's a lot of skills. That was one. There are skill trees for katanas, for dual katanas, for axes and hammers, for spears, for ninjutsu, for the magic, and then just for your samurai skills. Like there's 8 skill trees here, and they all have the same scroll icon. So it's hard to see what anything is. You have to kind of scroll through and look at every single one. Be like, what is this? Oh, this is an attack move. Okay. What is this? This is for high stance in this move. Okay, I don't really want that. What's this? It's hard to tell what anything is. They're laid out in a way that isn't very interesting. It's very flat. It almost feels like they go in order, but they don't really. They almost go like left to right and sometimes down. It's a weird tree. I don't necessarily like it. It's also, as you can see, I have skill points at the bottom left. That's new. They didn't used to have that. They didn't used to tell you like that. But I don't, like, there's so many things to spend points on, and a lot of them you don't even need. Like, you don't need to spend all those points. So I spend the game with just icons on the bottom of my screen. They never go away. None of this shit ever goes away. None of the HUD goes away. That was something they added in with Dark Souls 2, I believe it was, where if you just sat there for a while, all the HUD would go away, right? And then if you started running, just your HP and stamina would appear. And maybe your items. But then the items like shrunk down. And if you used one or cycled through them, it would pop back up big. And there was stuff like that that I feel like should be added in here, because I don't need this weapon wheel of what stance I'm in. I don't need that constantly on the screen or so big. It can kind of shrink down, I feel like. But these are, at this point, those are the things I have to complain about. The UI. Because the game is so fun when it gets into the boss of this area. This is the new area. That's the demon wall that I got scared at. I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but if you stand in front of it for a while, it starts attacking you. The boss of the second area proves exactly why this game is so incredible to me. You have to learn her attacks. You're dodging at things. There's cues. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last time a non-Souls game where she would like make this like rah noise. That's pitch perfect. And before she did a certain attack, and you knew to dodge, and you had to learn that, and you just sit there during the battle, be like, okay, she's doing a dodge. Like you have to learn and see what she's doing. All right, she's dumping up in the air. That's when she usually does this attack. Okay, I know what to do. I can block this attack. Oh, that attack I can't block. Dodge that attack. And it was one of those things too where I equipped an item so I had more of a certain type of defense. I don't know why I'm being vague about it. So that I wasn't, so I had more resistance. That's something you don't do a lot in a lot of games. You're just like, I'll tough through it. But in this game, or in Souls games, you really want that. You really want that extra defense, and so you go do it. And it's awesome. It's great. I went from being paralyzed in one hit to being able to survive that without being paralyzed. That's imperative. When you can survive the paralyzing attack, and as long as you don't get hit again right away, you don't get paralyzed, that's amazing. Also, fighting her was great to see because the other bosses that they've shown that I played are big. The one boss that's in the alpha and the beta, which they changed a little bit, he seemed a little easier. Maybe they changed somehow how his tracking works. A lot of people are saying the game is easier. I don't know if it is. It maybe seems a little bit, but I don't know. But that boss was big. It's like this big guy throwing these ball and chain things that are huge. They're the size of you. So they're hard to dodge because they're huge. And then the other boss was this tiger thing, this big ass tiger thing. So it was nice to fight a boss that was your size, was human sized, succubus sized. And very Castlevania 64 vibes for that one boss fight after the hedge maze. All 2 people who will get that reference. Castlevania 64, awesome. I would buy that on Virtual Console in a sweet minute. That's a phrase. So anyway, great fight with her. I'm going back to the Twilight missions now, and there's Twilight versions of the sub missions and the main missions. They have like, oh, your suggested level. That's something they changed from the beta. I'd have to go back and look at my footage of the alpha. But the alpha, you're leveling up all the time. You're getting a shit ton of experience from things. I felt like you ended the alpha at maybe level like 50 or 60. And now I beat the whole thing and I was like level 23. That seems more in line with the actual game is what I'm saying, as opposed to the alpha, which was, here's levels. I'm like, is this improving anything? Or like, is this balanced? I don't know what the fuck's happening. So maybe that's some balance thing there. I don't know. But going back to the Twilight missions, like I can't keep in focus for 5 seconds on Nioh. It's so good. The Twilight missions change up everything. The layout of the level is the same. The item placement is the same. There's yokai everywhere. Watch out. They're in different places. They're all over. There's new environments. There's a bunch of stupid fucking archers that are Shrine of Amana annoying, which I do not like. Change those archers. They're so annoying. They're just, why are there 2 of them being a dickheads? I just, stop it. I guess Anne Orlando would be a better example of archers that are dickheads, especially 2 of them. But there's no pit to fall into. Anyway, what I love about this game is the combat, is how this all works. You really have to watch things, and same is true of Souls, but here you also have to watch things like, is the enemy in high stance? Because if they're in high stance, they can mess your shit up. Like real bad, real hardcore. If you're not at full health, you're probably dead. Right? That's what high stance means when an enemy's in high stance. And you can see them kind of like move their weapon around, so you know what they're going to do. You have to start learning, oh, this is the axe guy. He does this attack and then that attack. And that's his 2-hit combo with that one specific move. Okay, then I can go in. How does this guy do it? Oh, he's got a three-hit combo. All right, I'm ready for that. It was just like the boss, fighting that succubus boss. She would have a 3-hit combo with this one combo, right? But she can cancel the 3rd attack. So you had to wait and see. Like if you were too far away, she wouldn't do it. But if you were kind of close, she would do it. And you had to make sure you were out of the way or blocking so you could then get some hits in. Super cool stuff like that where you're watching enemy movements and actually reacting to them and caring about them and getting in there. There is such a visceral feeling here. It almost kind of in the way of Bloodborne, where you're really fighting. You're really fighting these things and overcoming them, as opposed to every other stupid game where you're just going through the motions and whatever. It's not about difficulty per se. The difficulty just enforces the idea of you have to be on your game and you're in a fight. You're in a fight with a bunch of dudes with swords. Of course you shouldn't run around like a lunatic. That's not good. You need to take it slow. Now these games I realize aren't for everyone, and this game in particular it does feel, and it doesn't feel like it's ripping off Souls as much as, say, what was that game? The one with the Nordic guy on the cover, the face. I don't know, but it was basically Namco Bandai published it. It was funny. Lords of the Fallen. It's not as like, oh, that's Souls. That's very, you clearly copied everything Souls did, but you didn't do it as well. This feels like kind of a different thing with Onimusha, Ninja Gaiden vibes in it, and I love Ninja Gaiden, so I'm super down with that. Super down with fighting a bunch of these morons too. You start doing things on these cliffside. I'm pushing up on cliffs, trying to figure out what it is. You don't have to worry about, in Souls games, you have to worry about like fire defense and all that shit when you're blocking. In this game, blocking is blocking. Okay? You're just blocking. That's it. There's no fire damage. You can block bombs. Some guy's throwing a firebomb at you and you're just like, I put my swords up and it blocked it. I don't know. I'm a ninja. Who cares? Who cares? So there's that. There was some point I was driving at that I lost 20 minutes ago. But there really is something special about how it all works and how it fits together. It's this intangible thing of how it feels to play it and overcome it and loop through it, swim through it. It's a great game. It is a great game. It's still, I did the end of June, I think it was, I did my top 6 games of the year. And the Nioh Alpha was at the top of that list. And I think the Nioh Beta, like Nioh everything, it still might be the top there. Like, it's just so refreshing. I love Souls and I love all that, but it is refreshing to see a slightly different enough take. And it adds a few things like the stances and all the skill trees and all the magic. And there's the special thing. You can do circle and triangle you press and your spirit comes out and you learn all that. Then those you can level up in the full game. There's a bunch of things to level up. The familiarity with weapons, which is a hard word to kind of spit out in the middle of a sentence. Great stuff. Great stuff. So much fun. I should reiterate that because I'm kind of just talking about it. It's a lot of fun. It's that same Souls fun of fighting through something, but it's got that more fighty feel, that more Bloodborne fighting attitude. I loved Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne, I want to go back to Bloodborne. Can we get a Bloodborne 2, please? And a Nioh 2? Just get Nioh and Bloodborne for the rest of ever. We don't need any of these other stupid games. We don't. This is my plan to fight this guy. Fall off the thing, hit him a couple times. I think I die here. That's the thing too. You see these new enemies. Oh, this is a new enemy for the beta actually too. You see these new enemies and you're not quite sure what to do sometimes, even though it's all the same. Like, the idea is all the same with every enemy. Just don't get hit, right? Just watch its moves and be careful. And not what I did there, which is miss him with my super attack, my suicide attack, and then die. Don't do that. Don't get greedy. That's what it is. Be patient. Don't get greedy. You can fight this. You can win this. I believe in you. It's great. It's great. I haven't finished it. I might have finished it, but I didn't do the Twilight missions, so I'm going back and doing the Twilight missions. There's a lot of content. It's the same with the Alpha. 7 hours with the Alpha. I've played this maybe 5-ish hours, 5.5 hours, and it's still, no, maybe even close to 7 already with the beta. There's so much content here that if you're a Souls fan or anything like that, there's a lot to go into and to really enjoy. It's incredible how much they put in here. Played this, between the alpha and the beta, I've played this game more than games I've played, like, paid money for. Way more money for these free things, and enjoyed way less. Free crap is great. Free crap, super great. And there's all these different, like, weight classes with the different things. Equip weight, same as in Souls. And you get to see all your... it does have a lot of drops. There were more drops in the alpha. I think they toned that down a bit because in certain things in the alpha, it was like you'd hit something and it was loot pinata. Pinata? Loot pinata. and it just 16 swords fly out of this guy, and you're like, okay, pick him up, pick him up, pick him up, pick him up. It has an inventory problem in that respect, but not a big problem. Not a big problem. You can still kind of balance that and change it. It does tell you when something is on the ground. It's like, oh, this cutlass is this lowers your attack. Like, you don't need that. Don't pick it up. You're like, okay, I won't. I don't need that. There's no real reason to have money. Oh, in this they do show off the blacksmith, so you can reforge equipment, and it's a little vague, kind of like Souls. Everything has to be so fucking vague when you're spending money on your items. But I had this sword that had these certain attacks, and I could pick the different attributes that I wanted to kind of retry. And you just reforge it, and it randomly gives you new attributes that maybe you like more, and maybe you're more powerful. That's what the whole reforge thing is about. But you're kind of shot in the dark, and you can use items and money to do that. You can also buy items and sell items at the blacksmith. But other than reforging and stuff, there wasn't like, oh, I had this katana, and now I upgraded it to +1 or +2. Like, it wasn't that. It wasn't like that. You can also upgrade and do things with the armor, so you could combine, same with swords and stuff, you could combine different elements, like different helmets, to make a better helmet. But when I tried it, none of the helmets said they were going to be better, so I was like, oh, who cares? None of the swords said they were going to be better, but like that's still a thing you can do to combine weapons, and they combine their attributes as well in a certain way. I believe, like maybe they stack if they have the same thing. I don't know. Another thing, kind of vague, but great. There's a lot here. I'm liking the mission structure where it's a central hub, little map of Japan, and there's just little places on the map like, I'll go do this mission, I'll go do this mission. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. I'm loving everything basically I'm seeing from Nioh. It still says it's supposed to come out this year. I don't know. I don't know if I buy that. I think early next year, but who knows? They did put out an alpha and a beta, and they did change a lot of things with the durability is gone and all that kind of nonsense. I think the lock-on is different too. There's something about it. There's something about the lock-on that's different. Again, I need to go back and look at the footage of the alpha, but there's something different about it. I don't know what it is though. I do know I'm really terrible in this section of gameplay. It is something where just the more you play it and the more you fight against a certain enemy type, you learn them, and you kind of have to watch out for their slick little tricks. Watching you. I think I win here. Yeah, there you go. Very satisfying too when you fight guys. You saw the loot. This is a bigger guy, so more loot, but shit's flying everywhere. It's a very satisfying thing in that way. So it's not just you're slicing off their head in some big gory thing. There's particle effects, because that's what you want. You want a bunch of particles flying everywhere. The treasure, it pops out. Oh, I got a purple whatever. That's something it does really well, I think, is the loot, and that makes it feel very different from Souls. Is the loot pops? The loot pops, sure, and how they're special and sparkling, and it's not the same as Souls. You know, it's not a weird little circle on the ground that's kind of nondescript. This is like a reward, and you get all these things, a bunch of stats. There's stats overload. There's probably too many. Same can be said of Souls. Great game. Great. It would be weird to say game of the year for an alpha and a beta if the game doesn't come out this year. I hope it doesn't. Oh man, if it comes out, it's going to come out in December. December's Dead Rising month. I'm sorry. Nah, it'd be Nioh month if that happened. Whew. I'm worried. The one thing about Nioh that I'm worried about is they're showing, now there have been 3 full levels, that if you were to compare to a Souls game in terms of length overall, between those 3 levels, let's say Dark Souls 1, from the beginning of Dark Souls 1 to Firelink Shrine, through to the guy you fight on the bridge, that first real boss, Yeah, roughly there, probably a little more. So they've shown a good amount that you've been able to play. I'm concerned, and the map isn't very big. Maybe you can scroll the map. I don't know. So I'm concerned about that as to how much is left in this game really at this point. Also, actually more interestingly, with the story, there's a couple new cutscenes in this game. But more particularly, there's a year. It keeps popping up with every level. It's like, this is the year 1600 that you're here. And I'm like, why is it making such an emphasis on May 1600? I feel like there could be some kind of time travel shit going on, which I would love. But that's entirely speculation and maybe not even true at all. But I would love if the last level's like New York City 2002 and you're like, what the fuck's going on? Why am I here? I'm into that. I'm into that dumb goofy shit. Now, you'd probably be fighting demons still, but so it'd be the same. Remains to be seen. Alright, that's it. I've rambled enough to no one. Sometimes people show up, sometimes they don't. Regardless, I do this show every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, twitch.tv/thegamefanatics. I stream on my own channel, Super Mario Maker, playing viewer levels, Saturday through Tuesday. It's starting at roughly 6:15 Pacific p.m. And that's my own channel, twitch.tv/benreact. Merry Christmas. Go play Nioh. It's only available for like 2 weeks. Go do it. Don't fight this guy in a weird corridor because the camera is awful. Don't go down too quickly because there's a bunch of crazy moron psychos over there. They're going to shoot you. Don't do that. This guy's very aggressive and mean to me. I don't like him. That's it. Merry Christmas. If I wait a couple seconds, OBS will say I've been streaming for an hour. Or recording for an hour, not streaming for an hour. There we go. There's an hour. Gotcha. What are you doing? Oh, that's creating the shortcut. I made the shortcut. It's a one-way shortcut, though. I can't go back. Cannot go back. That's interesting. Oh, there's also the hot spring. People are complaining about the hot spring. That's the only one, though. There's only one, and you don't even have to do it. I don't understand these people who complain about things. They made the game so easy now. You can still play it difficult. If you want to play it without equipping any armor, you can. So just do it then. If you don't want to use the hot spring, don't use the hot spring. I don't understand it. Merry Christmas, goodbye. That's how you end it. Okay, I don't understand people or anyone. Goodbye.